Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. We're coming to you live again from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois. Again, wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen, day or night, I hope it is just right. And with me is the ever voluptuous, the ever wonderful Mr. Drew Gwillem, folks. Drew, how you doing, man?
That's me.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
We thought last Thursday was a bomb dropper.
Yeah, I mean, geez, and we're going to talk about that. Plus, a whole
Everything
lot.
else.
I mean, I wish we had a weekend show now because, my God, there was so much that dropped. But, Drew, I mean, it's a full NFL show today. That's all we're doing here, folks. We're going over the NFL because that is dominating the scene right now. So,
Oh, joy.
oh, yeah. So,
Oh,
it's like
joy.
Christmas, right?
Oh, yeah.
If only
Better.
Barry Claus was here.
Well,
Soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
That asshole doesn't want to talk about that, about his crappy team.
Well, eventually
and
we
the
will.
non-existent moves. Non-existent.
Well, what they got, Dozier,
Sure,
right?
okay.
Sure. What?
Yeah.
Bulldozer, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they call him?
The older and less talented Brown. St.
Yes.
Brown. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's who
absolutely.
they got.
But Drew, are you ready to hit this, man?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this then, folks. We are starting it off with, yes, the NFL, like I said, and we are kicking it off with the news that we broke on Thursday. Drew had the opportunity to break this news, and that was Davante Adams has officially left the Green Bay Packers, and he is now officially an Las Vegas Raider. Oh, I'm so sorry, folks. A Las Vegas Raider. The Raiders traded a first and a second for Davante Adams, which obviously for a lot of people really raised a lot of eyebrows. As I'm sure you and we went home and I saw the trade and I went, "What, really? Like that was the final thing?" So clearly, and obviously for a lot of people, very shocking for sure. We though explored that this could be something that might actually have happened. But Drew, I ask you, man. Yes, unfortunately, it didn't go to the right team. But Raiders getting Davante Adams. Drew, your initial thoughts on this on Thursday? Obviously, you expressed them, but give me an update again. Give us a replay of what happened when your feelings on that, and now your feelings after we've kind of learned more about the trade.
It's wow. It's like, holy hell. They went out and got their guy.
Yeah.
They had been talking about between Davante Adams and Derek Carr and playing together since they played together in college.
Yeah.
They've been talking about reuniting again for a long time, and now they're finally able to do it. And that just adds another big weapon for Derek Carr. And
Yeah.
Look out. Here come the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, look out. Here comes the AFC West. My goodness.
Yeah.
And obviously, we went over a lot of what happened with the AFC West, but this is just another brick on top of everything for what we've seen so far. I mean, it was a huge move. They had obviously been saying, like, Davante may want to leave. Obviously, he didn't want to play on the franchise tag. And now we've come to learn from some of the inside of what happened. The Packers apparently matched the move by the Raiders, which was a 5-year, $141.5 million contract.
I heard they went slightly over.
Did they go slightly over?
I heard he would have made more money staying with the Packers.
Okay, so he would have even made maybe more money with the Packers. But according to the reports, Davante Adams stated that he no longer wished to be in Green Bay. So interesting stuff.
Yes.
We kind of went over this again on Thursday. But Drew, I'll ask you this. Obviously, hearing that news, we have to assume something broke down between Davante Adams and either a certain player or management potentially. But I'll leave it to you. What do you think happened between Davante Adams that led to this eventual the split with Green Bay to go to Las Vegas to be with Derek Carr and all these other great guys?
I think part of it could have a lot to do with the fact that they would win the regular season and then playoff time would come and then they just wouldn't have a lot to show for it. I think part of it is I don't necessarily think it's the front office.
Okay.
Because they were willing to pay for him.
Right.
They were willing to give him all that money, and he still didn't want to be there and still didn't want to play with one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it.
Yeah.
I think, like we've talked before, I think it shows more of the relationship that between him and Karen.
Yes.
Because apparently he must not be all that great to be around.
Yeah.
Because he had his chance to stay and make more and decided I would rather go here and I don't want to play on this team anymore.
Right.
It's tough because
I know. Yeah.
and then they said that Aaron Rodgers knew that Davante wasn't going to stay before he signed his deal. Right. There was no chance of him coming back and staying to play there, and he still signed his deal. I don't necessarily know why he would do that. Though,
yeah.
For one, but yeah, I think a lot of it speaks to that team, maybe the camaraderie, and maybe having to deal with Rodgers, all the time, and that wasn't really for him anymore.
Yeah. Honestly, well said there, Drew. I would just like to add that I called this.
You did.
I did not the move to the Raiders. I didn't call that. Something happened between him and Rodgers. It had to. There's no way that this. As soon as Rodgers announced that deal or whatever, even though it wasn't $200 million, whatever, the three-year, $150 million extension that's all fully guaranteed. The moment that got announced, my thought was something went wrong here. They completely disconnected from it. Because again, yes, you are kicking the money down the road. You're pushing it back. But at some point, the money's going to, again, bottleneck up. You're going to have to release some guys. And Davante's not a dumb guy. He's a smart dude. He understands that we keep waiting to pay guys. We keep pushing the money back. It's going to eventually hit us, and we're going to get hit hard.
Like the Bears.
Exactly. Yeah, like the Bears. And hopefully they will do something. We all we can do at this point is, as we usually say, hope.
Yeah.
Even though hope seems to really kick us in the gonads quite a bit, it seems. So, but honestly, I've always suspected that Davante has never been friends with Aaron. This to me only confirms it, because if, like you said, if Aaron knew about this, that he was not going to return when he took the deal, if that's the case, that just says everything about who they were. That this was clearly a work relationship, right? You throw me the ball, I catch the ball, we score the touchdowns, we try to see if we can do something. We do great. If we don't, it's no snow off my nose, or whatever you want to say, right? It's
whoa.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, for the Raiders' sake, right? Las Vegas, I mean, that kind of
well,
works
okay.
out. Yeah, it connects.
Yeah, party place.
But
okay.
I keep looking at this. I keep reading the articles. There's a lot of suspicion about whether or not Rodgers knew or not. He hasn't said anything. I really wish he would. I really want to hear what he has to say. I'm sure he'll give some generic answer, as Aaron Rodgers can only give. I'm sure he really wants to speak to the manager if he's that mad with Green Bay. So I think here we go again for Green Bay. I think they're going to see a lot more of that toxicity spill out in the media. But real quick before we move on, Drew, Davante Adams teaming up with Derek Carr, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs. I mean, now on defense, you've got Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. The list goes up and up and up, and they still have some draft picks that they can even burn. They're not top picks, but what do you see for the Raiders now? Obviously, again, the AFC West is filled with talent. But where do you see the Raiders potentially going now that they've added Davante Adams?
Up. They were a playoff team last year, and they have gotten better on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
That even in a tough division, that can only mean moving forward, going up, getting better. Because they've added a bunch of talent to this team that was already a playoff team,
right? With
all the adversity they faced last year.
Yeah.
Now they have a new head coach, which should work out much better than McDaniels did in Denver.
Yes.
That is showing already.
Absolutely. More mature, making better moves than we saw from the Broncos.
Trying not to do it the Patriot way, but going out and getting the talent and bringing that in to help build this team more from what they had the previous year.
Right.
So I think the only way for them to go is up. It's still going to be a very, very tough division. They have brought in a ton more talent all across the board.
Oh, yeah.
But big thing was someone leaving that division today. Yes. I'm sure we'll get to.
Oh, we will absolutely. That just so you know, that last segment has now been erased. We're going with a different one. So,
Okay, wonderful.
yeah, absolutely.
So I think the departure of that certain someone from the division and on the Chiefs,
Yeah.
that's gonna hurt.
Mhm.
That's gonna hurt. That's again. So the Raiders added one of the best wide receivers in the league, and the
Yeah.
Chiefs lost one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Yes.
There is a very good possibility that those teams could flop in the standings now. That one departure for them, and then the additions that the Raiders have made, that could boost them up to, I'm not going to say the top of the division,
Yeah.
just as tough as it is, but up there.
Yeah.
They're there. They're a playoff team, and then potential Super Bowl team with what they've done in the offseason.
I'm in the same boat. And this makes the Raiders better. If you want to put a number on it or anything, I'm not going to put a number on it, but to speak on, put a number on it, yeah. I would say this team has the potential, I think, obviously now things change a little bit, but I'm still going to say, at least at this point, a winning record, second in the division. This team is good enough. They have enough veteran leaders. And I think, and we talked about this with the hot or not situation with the coaches. We both said that Josh McDaniels felt like a great move for the Raiders. And I was very suspect when they did make the hire. But like you said, considering that he's learned a lot since those days of being a 30-something-year-old with the Broncos.
Yeah.
He's now in more of his 50s. He's a little bit more calm, cool, collected. He's now worked with the greatest quarterback of all time for a lot of years. So I expect him, Derek Carr, Davante Adams to get on a level, who knows, maybe somewhat similar to kind of what we saw when it was a Randy Moss, Wes Welker to Tom Brady. I know that's very out there, but to a similar level of attacking where it was just like they can score from anywhere and their defense is able to back it up. So God, I can't wait for football to start now. I am itching for it.
It is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, I can't. I'm like, listen, I'm not the biggest man on Hard Knocks anymore, especially after last year. It was kind of a dud. I hope they do like multiple Hard Knocks now over the AFC West. I hope they do every team in the AFC West. I want to see a full division from training camp to the end of season. I want to see it happen. I think that would be great. And let the Raiders be in there. Please let the Raiders be in there.
Definitely.
It's going to be great. All right, well, you thought that was a big move. Well, hold your hats, folks.
Next.
That's a good way to put it. Next in line, please.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful Deshaun Watson. Believe it or not, folks, he is no longer in Houston. Out of the blue. Kind of out of the blue, really, more than anything.
This has kind of been the offseason of minds changing.
Yes.
With a lot of players.
Everybody seems to be switching it up a lot.
And this is just the next one in line.
Absolutely.
Again.
And believe it or not, Deshaun Watson, no longer a Houston Texan after what was, I believe, 6 draft picks, including 3 first-round picks. The Cleveland Browns have traded for Deshaun Watson.
Are you laughing at his ridiculous contract?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh my
For those who don't know, on top of that, he received a 5-year, $230 million contract. And wait for it, folks. Fully guaranteed.
It's like a baseball deal.
Yeah, exactly. You get the full check in front of you, all in all. Your taxes are going to be crazy, by the way, Deshaun. You do live in Ohio now. But Drew, I'll ask you, man. We knew that this was a move that was being talked about. They had said the Falcons and the Saints and maybe the Panthers, but eventually Panthers kind of fell out.
And then the Browns fell out.
And so we're hearing Falcons and Saints, and now he goes to the Browns.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on the trade? What do you think this does for Cleveland? And basically, I'll ask you even too, who won this deal? Who do you feel like really won this big deal?
Well, the main word to sum up many of these deals is wow.
Yes.
Again, this is a wow deal. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest deal between trade compensation and a player coming back in NFL history.
Yeah. Who didn't even play last year.
Didn't play. Which he may not even start this season.
Very true.
He may end up being suspended for who knows how long.
Right.
So even with that involved, is crazy.
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns are going to be a scary team. Really good defense. You throw Deshaun Watson in there. Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones has worked his way up some.
Yep.
A little void of some wide receiver talent, which there's plenty of time to still get that in.
Absolutely.
Odell Beckham said, Baker's out. I'll come back.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem coming back now. You have Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb,
Yeah.
and Njoku at tight end,
Mhm.
who's an athletic freak as well.
Absolutely.
Like, they have a lot of talent on this team now, and a signal caller of Deshaun Watson's caliber. Everything else aside, I'm talking straight football right now.
Yeah.
He's one of the best in the league. Even being off next season, as young as he is, I wouldn't expect too much.
Right.
It to take too much time to knock the rust off and get back into form.
Yeah.
So this is the Browns are a scary team now. They are going to be battling out in that division, and I don't maybe not necessarily this year, but
Yeah.
after going forward
In the long run.
this is going to be a really good team. And as far as who won the deal,
You can say win-win if you want to say that.
I think it's kind of win-win.
Okay.
Yes, because a quarterback of Deshaun Watson's caliber, you can't really put a price on a guy like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot,
Right.
but he's as long as nothing else happens anywhere else
Right.
with any other legal troubles
Right.
and all that, he could be your guy for it's a 5-year deal, but re-sign, be there 10, 12 years and be
And he's only 26.
right,
So.
be there for the long run for
Right.
them, which they haven't had they haven't had this.
It's been a while since they've had something like this. I think
It's like quarterback hell like the Bears have been in.
very, very true.
And they haven't had anybody like this.
Yes,
in
absolutely.
a very, very, very long time.
No.
And now they have a guy that can be top 2, 3 in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's win-win. It's giving Houston that restart that they wanted.
Mhm.
Davis Mills showed some things last year to where he can go out and start. He showed things that you wish you saw from our quarterback, which is kind of
Yes,
sad. But
it's unfortunate.
I think it's different circumstances.
Right.
But
Still had a better record than I'm giving that kind of props. I
yeah,
guess.
it gives the awful Houston Texans and new coach Lovie Smith a chance to rebuild that team
Right.
and do something new and move forward instead of stick to where
Same
they
old,
were
same old.
with him, Deshaun Watson not wanting to be there,
Right.
dealing with his legal troubles. I think it's good for both sides.
Okay. I think Houston, to me at least, won the deal a little bit more just because they get the draft picks to rebuild, and clearly that's what they are aiming for. They need to completely retool, rebuild, all that stuff, right? I don't have a problem with Deshaun going to Cleveland, don't get me wrong, but I also kind of look at it, and you may disagree with me on this, but I feel like it's almost like the Odell Beckham Jr. trade, where you certainly making the trade makes the team a lot better. But it's also like, did you really need to like make that move? You know, no. And listen, this is coming from a guy who has been bashing Baker for a couple years now. So take it for what it is. It's just because I feel like with Deshaun Watson, I look at him and I say, okay, I feel like he fit in Houston, right? It's a bigger city, it's a big market kind of thing. Cleveland's a little bit of a smaller market. It's Midwest, right? And
Maybe that's best for him
and
right
that
now.
could be.
That is probably,
Yes.
and maybe that had something to do with his decision.
Absolutely.
Was I need to be away from all
yes,
of that
get
right
out
now.
of the limelight, get away from the spotlights, all that stuff. So, and I agree, and that's where I kind of feel like I'm a little torn on that because I don't know how he's going to fit with this team. Because obviously Kevin Stefanski, we know, likes to run the football a lot, right? Nick Chubb is really kind of their guy. Obviously, this gives them now the chance to go over the top with
Yes.
Amari Cooper, which is great. I just now also question, can he and Amari Cooper get along? Because obviously we heard Amari and Dak didn't really get along, it sounds like, too well. So
different guys, different
Right.
players, different personalities. You have all this testosterone flowing on,
Yes.
on a team of 50-something guys.
Absolutely.
And not everybody's going to get along.
Right.
So it's not always going to happen, but I think when you have a quarterback wide receiver connection,
Mhm.
again, like Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams,
Right.
you kind of have to be on the same page, and you see that in the play when you see a quarterback and a wide receiver,
Yes.
Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs,
Mhm.
those types. You see them; they're close, they're tight, they talk all the time. They're
always
friends.
next to each other on the
Yes.
sidelines.
You see that, and you see that bond
Right.
with them off the field, and it shows on the field.
yeah.
And I think I don't think Deshaun Watson's going to have a problem building that with Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
It's when everything works out better when you're winning. So
Right.
this is the guy to win. He's a winning football player.
Right. Yeah. No,
So
absolutely.
he's the guy I think he's definitely the guy that can elevate them.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely puts them in that hunt for the division now, considering that division obviously has gotten better in some ways and
Weaker in others.
in others. But and I agree, and I didn't really take a look at that. Maybe you're right. The smaller market potentially maybe kills the noise. If he can block out the noise, that's the biggest thing, right? Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. 22 civil suits against him. It's a lot. If he can block out the noise after that, after he serves whatever suspension I'm sure he serves, I'm sure it'll be fine. Our guy David kind of brought up something interesting though. I mean, I don't know about this. I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth or throw any shade at the Browns or collude to anything like that. I'm just saying David brought up the idea that the Browns fully guaranteed the contract. He gets that big fat check. So maybe he can kind of disperse a little bit of that money out to maybe make some of those civil suits potentially go away, which I've looked into the legality of that. Listen, they can do whatever they want with the contract as far as I can see. So technically it is Deshaun Watson paying a settlement if that's the way it is. Not really the Browns paying a settlement, but in my eyes, that's how I looked at it. But I haven't seen anything that says legally that's not possible. But I mean, listen, if he can get through this, if he can just stay the course and block out the noise, I think he'll be good. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll even maybe win the division a couple times. I think the Browns just need to add a little bit more to that team to help him out. Because I feel like you brought him in, and then all of a sudden you lose J.C. Treader, who's one of the top centers out there. Why he hasn't been signed, I don't understand. Bears, I'm just saying. But one can only ask.
They don't like to go after top-tier talent.
Of course not. And he's one of the best in the league. He's one of the best in the league. And I feel like dropping him and then picking up Deshaun is kind of like they did with OBJ. They brought in OBJ, and then they traded their tackle for Olivier Vernon. And obviously Baker had a bad year. He tried to force the ball to OBJ, a lot of stuff like that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But to me, at least, I will say for right now, I'll give it to Houston for winning this because they got a ton of picks that I thought Cleveland could really use to like revamp their team, get a new quarterback, maybe potentially. They felt like they would go in with another option, but this really solves a lot of it too. So
look what he did in Houston with
less talent.
Terrible, terrible offensive line.
Absolutely
terrible,
and one wide receiver.
Yeah, and Cleveland has so much better of an offensive line.
Yes,
even with Treader gone.
Yes,
it's still night and day compared to what he had gone through there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, before we get out of this, obviously Deshaun's in, means Baker's out. There's a lot of talk about where he's going to go. Said the Colts, and we'll get there. Obviously, that's not going to happen now.
Baker wanted the Colts. They didn't want him.
Yes, and then it was the Carolina Panthers, but there was mutual disagreement on that and disinterest on that, so that's not going to work. So I ask you now, Drew, where do you think? What do you think happens with Baker Mayfield? Do you think he gets traded? Do you think he gets released? And where do you think he goes? Or where do you think is the best fit, you think, for him to go?
Well, I heard the Steelers say that they would be very interested in bringing him in if he gets cut.
Right.
Not willing to trade for him.
Absolutely not.
And I think maybe they just said that to be difficult,
right?
Because they're in the same division. The Browns saying that they're not just going to outright cut him,
right?
But then they might have also heard that they might have to attach a draft pick with him just to trade him.
Yes,
because of the $18 million he's going to be due.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a tough situation. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of suitors for him.
Yeah,
he's not being courted, not being wanted by, as far as I've heard, any teams.
It's only been like a handful of teams as far as I can tell. And all of them sound like either he's going to compete for the starting job or he's going straight to like being a backup.
Which for $18 million is kind of...
It's a lot. I mean, ask Nick Foles.
Seattle is going with Drew Lock and not even taking a look at it.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yes.
That says a lot about the player, the guy, what the league thinks of him.
Right.
I mean, I think the Browns kind of did him wrong a little. Yeah. They didn't handle things the right way. Baker hasn't always handled things the right way.
Right.
But fact of the matter is they need to find somebody to take him.
Yeah.
And whether it's they take on that contract just to get him out of there, because you can't bring him in with Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett in that
Right.
quarterback room. It's just not going to work.
No.
He's either going to be a distraction or a problem.
Yeah.
So as far as where he goes, I don't have a clue.
That's fine. I mean, because I don't have a single idea or a feel of where he could go.
If Atlanta's willing to take Mariota and not even take a look at him,
Yeah.
like I said, Seattle with Drew Lock, and they don't even want him.
Right.
The only option's going to be somewhere for a backup role.
Right.
And with that money, I don't know how that works out.
Unless he's willing to restructure that deal, and I don't know if he will be at this point. I said this on the radio for Blow the Whistle. Check us out, by the way, every Monday, 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. I said this also on the TV stuff. I think when it comes to Baker, one of the big issues, I think, is that, for those who don't know, Baker has always been like a small-time quarterback, if you don't know this, right? He wasn't really a top recruit. He walked on at Texas Tech. He got the starting job. He lost it to Mahomes from injury. He walked on at Oklahoma. He won the starting job after that. 2 years there, playoff appearances, Heisman Trophy, right? And then he becomes the number one pick. And I think about that, and I think about him being such a small, kind of, not a small-time quarterback, but really, I don't think he was ready for the fame. And I think that's fair to say, because I think he didn't know how to handle being this famous, right? His rookie year, he blows up, right? And the next year, he's doing commercials, he's doing all this stuff, and I think he went, whoa, this is weird. I'm like everywhere. Everybody wants to talk to me and all that stuff. He was trying to, I think, be himself, and I think what happened was I think he got overwhelmed by the process of being an NFL quarterback, right? The eyes are on you. Everything's your fault, or everything, is because of you, or something like that, right? It's we win because of you or we lose because of you. That becomes the thing. And look, I've been highly critical of the guy. I will fully admit it. Sometimes I will say I've even gone too far, I think. I fully will admit that I've gone a little too far with him. But I think that he got overwhelmed with fame, and now it's tough because you're kind of like, where's he at mentally? Can he, because with this whole Deshaun Watson thing, obviously they're talking with him, and then he puts out this statement that he was like, thank you so much, Cleveland, and all that stuff. And it's a nice letter. It's a good letter kind of to say thank you, but it already sounds like you're leaving. You're accepting the defeat.
He knew his time was up there.
Yes,
the
yes.
fact that they were going out to find a new quarterback,
Right.
and in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes,
Yes.
he knew his time was done. So that there, like, I don't fault him too much for that.
Right.
For me personally, I'm like, all right, your time's done.
Mhm.
You know that they haven't really been in too much contact and been
Right.
on the same page with you. There's no way that relationship can continue.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I agree with that. It's just, I heard Teddy Bruschi say on TV, and I mean, take it for what it is. Obviously, these analysts can say different things, but he said something that I kind of agreed with, which is, we've seen Baker time and time again. Like, where's this dude that was so resilient in college? And that's where I kind of, I heard that, and I kind of maybe he kind of just broke a little bit, It can happen. It happens to players all the time.
And
so.
I think he came in with that.
Yes.
His whole rah-rah mentality,
Right.
and running down the field like this after he throws a
I'm a
touchdown
team
or
guy,
whatever.
yeah.
And I think that kind of got old.
Yes.
I think it got old for the team. It got old for the coaches.
Right.
And then maybe he was kind of a baby about it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't want to be
Well, you
feel
heard
that
him,
way about me anymore. I don't
Yeah.
feel this way about you anymore.
absolutely. Well, you heard him in the media, right? Sometimes, and not every time in the media, but there was he called out the training staff. I remember one. He called out, I think, a couple of the players at times. It was never he wasn't taking the fault for it. When was it his fault? It could be argued, but there were some times where you're like, if he would have played better, they probably would have won the game. And like you said earlier before, right? Everybody accepts that kind of stuff when you're winning. When you're not
Right.
winning, it gets old. You
Yeah.
get tired of it. Veterans go, shut up. We're done with you. We're not listening to you anymore. You're not the leader of this team. I don't know. And
And just like that video that's Odell Beckham's always open.
yes.
Watch it.
Yeah.
He is.
He is.
And he was missed.
Yes.
He was missed
Yes. Absolutely.
constantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, what does that say about the player?
Right.
I don't care what your feud is, what your problem is with that guy. He's the best receiver on your team,
Right.
and he's wide open, and
Yeah.
you don't even look his way. You don't throw him the ball. That's a problem.
Absolutely. And I mean, listen, as far as where he goes, I feel like Houston might be the place that he might get signed. I mean, if he gets cut, I feel like Houston might be the one that signs him to a 1-year deal. He's a Texas kid. They bring him back home, and it's like, listen, you compete with Davis Mills. If you can beat him out, you're the starting QB. If you can't, you're the backup, right? That's how I feel like that's going to have to go down. So we'll see what happens, though. Props to the Cleveland Browns for making a big trade, and we'll see what happens with Baker Mayfield. Maybe he will get an opportunity. We will see. But moving on, because God knows we can't stop. By the way, our man King BMAC had this to say, and I love it. He says, "This is why the NFL is king.
Yes.
Even when nothing is happening on the field, they find a way to dominate the sports news landscape." Yeah, no kidding.
I am with you. I use that phrase a lot.
Yeah.
NFL is king.
Absolutely, and this proves it right here because we're keeping it going, folks, because believe it or not, another move was made.
Another quarterback on the move.
Another quarterback on the move, and that is Matt Ryan, who is officially going to be, and I called this one, an Indianapolis Colt. I did not expect them to get such a low pick, a third-round draft pick, but we've now come to understand the details of it. The Colts are taking on everything for Matt Ryan. So
that's all 43 million, something like that.
I think so. I think they're taking on that, which I thought they had restructured his deal. But as we learned, he didn't restructure the deal. So they're taking on a ton of chunk change for that one.
A lot
of money. But they do have the cap space. And I guess to also be fair, they don't really need to spend a lot of money to get a lot of players. They're a pretty good team as it is. And this takes them to the next level, at least. I'll say for myself, this, I think, puts the Colts in the run for the division.
Agreed.
I 100% think they can beat the Tennessee Titans because now, instead of running the ball constantly with Jonathan Taylor, you can go over the top.
Yes, he can make any throw on the field. He is that good of a player. He is a very, very, very good quarterback.
Oh, my God.
And now he's... I mean, just look what Atlanta did when the year they made it to the Super Bowl with Julio Jones all those years and Roddy White and then him and Calvin Ridley as well while he was not gambling on games.
Look like a top receiver.
Right. So now you're adding him to a team that's full of talent.
Yeah.
A really good offensive line, a really good running game. And so to me, this is going to be like when they got Phillip Rivers, but much better.
Yes.
So they were a really good team. They were a playoff type team then.
11-5, I believe, correct?
Yes. I think that's better now.
Okay.
That's going to go better.
Yes.
So they are a much better team than they were at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you haven't seen I don't know if you saw the video. There's a video of Matt Ryan throwing the ball last year compared to Deshaun Watson about 2 years ago when he was still playing. They threw the ball 65 yards apiece on the exact same pinpoint. So even at, 36, 37, right?
Yeah.
He's up there. He can still sling it, folks. This is I help Jonathan Taylor out by not getting him killed.
Yes.
And he helps me by taking the load off so I can throw the ball every now and then.
Yes.
This is a mutual relationship for both. And honestly, Matt Ryan is maybe one of the nicest guys, I think, in the league, other than like Andrew Luck.
And Matt Ryan's not throwing any left-handed interceptions in the end zone.
No, he's not. No, he's not. I firmly believe, I think the Colts 11-6, 12-5, they win the division. Nothing against Tennessee. Tennessee obviously made a really good move getting Robert Woods, which helps them a lot in that run game for Derrick Henry because he is one of the best blockers.
And he's going to be back healthy, and they're going to be right there too.
Yeah, but when it comes down to, and I know I'm bashing another quarterback, but Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill.
Yes.
I'd still take Matt Ryan. I mean, if the Bears hadn't gotten Justin Fields and you told me Matt Ryan was available and the Bears got him, I'd be like, yes. I think everybody would be joyful. I mean,
see, I wouldn't have been for that for the Bears, just for the fact of
moving on, changing of the guard kind of thing, or
not necessarily. It's more of, for me, it would be, he's 36.
Right.
He's played in a dome his whole career, and now you're moving to cold weather outside all the time in our division with cold weather. Matt Ryan has, over his time, hasn't been as good on the road.
Yes.
And definitely not in those. So he's had his games, yes.
Yes.
But the cold weather on the road games haven't worked out as well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with Deshaun Watson too. I thought, like, he's in Houston, he wants to go to a warm climate, and it's like, now you're going to the outside cold. Like, I don't know how that's gonna work. I mean, he can throw the hell out of the ball. Don't get me wrong. He can rip it through the cold, but I just, it could affect him. It's something I was kind of keeping in consideration. But for Matt Ryan, the Colts, I mean, you've got the best offensive line, I think, in football there. You've got a top 10, I think, defense out there at the very least. And you've got a top receiver, Michael Pittman Jr., and they're probably going to get another guy, I'm assuming, probably in the draft. So expect this team to be very competitive, folks.
Yes.
AFC South is going to be a fun one to watch now. Just considering the Titans and now the Colts and even the Jaguars. I'll throw them in there. It's just
all the AFC.
I know,
the
right?
whole NFC is just.
It's just I'm sorry.
Yeah, NFC's crap their pants.
I mean, right now, what we could say it's probably the Rams and the
Bucks.
That's about it.
And then everybody else.
Maybe the Packers if they can figure something out, but I doubt it at this point.
They need to bring in a veteran talent, which. What do you got? Odell Beckham, Julio Jones, which doesn't move the needle.
So Kirk Cousins, you're up.
And I think Rodgers might. Oh my God! Watch what happens.
That's why I said it.
Watch what happens in the draft if the Packers pass on a receiver at their first pick.
Oh, they will burn that city down.
Oh my God! I'm gonna laugh so hard.
I said if they do that, that's gonna be the headline. If they take a quarterback too, if they do that and take a quarterback, I said that's gonna be the headline
Round
for the
one,
day.
Packers select.
We are live
Defensive
on the
player.
scene. There is a bright glow coming from Wisconsin right now.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers has blown up Lambeau Field and exited stage right.
Yes, he's gone back to the 49ers, and she says, I'm not coming out of the closet until they give me a contract.
No, I think he's already out of the closet.
That's true, too. Yeah. Well, on the outside of this, obviously losing Matt Ryan, and as you kind of alluded to, Mr. Marcus Mariota making a return, it seems like. Mariota coming back to a starting quarterback position.
Getting a second shot.
I guess. 2 years, $19 million for the young man. Well, not young anymore, but for Marcus Mariota, obviously, he's getting another opportunity. I'm a little mixed on him myself. It's touch and go with him personally myself. But Drew, I'll ask you. I mean, what do you think about Mariota kind of coming into Atlanta? I mean, what is your feeling on what Atlanta can do with him? What are your thoughts?
I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be able to do a whole lot. I think this is more of a. We just traded our longtime stud quarterback.
Yeah.
And we need to fill that position.
A warm body, if you will.
We need a warm body in that position. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is a total tank job. You got your best wide receiver won't be playing at all this season.
Yeah.
Damian Williams signed there, I believe.
I believe so. It kind of went under the radar.
So him, Mike Davis, Cordero Patterson, they traded Russell, or not traded, but Russell Gage signed with the Chief, or
Tampa.
No, the Bucks.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Tom Brady called him personally.
Yes. So to me, this kind of seems like a tank job. We're gonna restart.
Okay.
And I don't think he's gonna do that whole run and gun type of thing, throw short passes.
Yeah.
Because yes, he has a great tight end in Kyle Pitts too. I think it's who's gonna utilize the most.
He's gonna have some yards.
They have some decent players on offense, but.
Not enough.
I think we're gonna try and lose as much as we can, and the division that they're in and who they have to play. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be a very pretty year for them.
I was saying before the Tom Brady news, I was like, even if they were to trade out Matt Ryan, or even if they kept him, I'm like, the Falcons could probably easily win this division if everybody's like up in the air. Because I looked at that and I'm like, NFC South, with no Brady, Matt Ryan is the best quarterback, and obviously then the Calvin Ridley thing came out. But even still, I was kind of like, well, the Falcons could still pull it off maybe. But now with Tom Brady being back, it changes a lot of things. I agree. And this is what I think Seattle's doing, right? With Drew Lock, you stick him in. You're going to only win probably 4 or 5 games, get a top pick.
Again, especially in that division.
Yes. And they will go get one of the top quarterbacks next year, which right now looks like C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, 2 guys who are basically bigger versions of Russell Wilson and or Kyler Murray at this point. So happy you, Seattle, I guess, if they can pull that off. Who knows? Drew Lock all of a sudden wins 9 games, and they're like, "Oh, this is terrible. This is not what we wanted." So
right.
I'm interested to see though how it goes for Atlanta, even with Mariota. I just don't. He's the bridge quarterback, like you said. You wait, put a warm body, lose some games, get a quarterback, move on. That's going to probably be the MO for this one. So we'll see what happens with Marcus Mariota. But moving into our last detail, even though it says something different on our sheets, this is the big breaking news of the day, or of the last couple days, I guess. The Dolphins just going all in on everything. They signed Teron Armstead, offensive tackle, offensive tackle. I know.
And I don't even care that it would cost that much.
Yeah. 5 years, was it 5 years, 87 and a half
something
million?
Like
something
that.
like that.
I understand it's a lot of money, and at his age, in a couple of years, we're not ready to win now. But the point is to protect your young rookie quarterback and keep him off his ass.
Right.
And give him an opportunity to run an offense. If he has no opportunity because he gets sacked 9 times, can't do much.
Right.
So it's like I wanted to see go out and get that top tier talent at the left tackle position that the Bears have never had.
Okay. Yeah, I
mean, topic, I know.
Yeah, right, no.
Pissed me off.
No, it's understandable. I get it. I understand. I mean, it's a big move, obviously, for them. They secure a tackle for their quarterback. It seems like they're going with Tua, but they did make an interesting move today. They traded 5 draft picks, a first, a second. I mean, I think it was
2 fourths,
2 fourths, and a fifth, I believe, for wide receiver Tyreek Hill from the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, Tyreek Hill is now a Miami Dolphin. So, Drew, obviously very big moves by the Dolphins. You already know what I'm going to say, and I'm not going to say it right now. I want you to go first. I know people are going to attack me in Miami, but
Tua.
I'm sorry. But what do you think about what Miami's done here? And then also, what is the impact, not only just for the Chiefs, but also for the Saints too? Because this is clearly, I mean, they still have Ryan Ramczyk, but you're losing one of your top tackles. So what do you think it does for Miami, and what do you think it does for the Chiefs and the Saints?
Well, overall for the trade, again, I saw it and my jaw dropped. It's big time. Wow. Like, I couldn't believe, I didn't even know that they were shopping him for one.
I didn't believe it until I saw like Instagram popping up things, and they're like, they're in trade talks with the Jets and the Dolphins. And I'm like, really? I was like,
And they would have traded him to the Jets if that's where he wanted to go, which was for less compensation, which would have been crazy.
2 seconds and like a fourth, I think it was. Ridiculous.
So Miami's got a squad. Miami has got a squad now. They have all kinds of talent.
Yes.
Protection. Now we're going to see if Tua's ready for NFL primetime.
Yeah.
Because he has everything he needs. He has a good enough running game with Edmonds and Mostert. Mostert's a really good runner. And fast as the wind.
Yes.
When he stays healthy.
Right, exactly.
I hope he can stay healthy because he's been a really, really good running back.
He was the Elijah Mitchell before Elijah Mitchell.
Yes, he was a very good runner when he's on the field.
Yes.
So him and Edmonds running the ball and catching, it's going to be solid for them.
Yeah.
Then you add a big slot wide receiver in Gesicki, who's a tight end, but he plays a lot of slot right, which he won't have to as much. But imagine the 4 wide receiver sets with Gesicki in the slot, Cedric Wilson in the other, and you got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
And if you go 5, you put in Davante Parker.
Yeah. Where does he fit now? Does he get traded somewhere?
That's what I'm wondering. And he's a big wide receiver at like 6'3", 220, but he can run like the wind.
Yeah. So this team is scary good. They've had a really good defense. Yeah. They have had 2 lockdown corners, plus some safeties that have played well for them. Yeah. They have some very, very, very good talent on this team. Everything they need to compete with Buffalo now.
Yeah.
The difference is in the quarterback. Yes, Tua is very young still. He hasn't had a lot there. I think he still has much more development to do. But if you can't develop with that offense around you and the weapons and the protection that he's going to have, he won't ever do it.
Right. So
it's either happening here and he's going to become really good starting this season, or he's not.
Yeah. And that was going to be my argument, is that I'm not trying to understand. I'm not trying to bash the dude. But I see limited potential in him. He doesn't always make the big play. But like you said, this is now the telltale time, right? You have an offensive line. We've got that for you. We drafted and now we signed one of the top
multiple They
Yes.
signed multiple offensive
guys.
linemen in free agency this year.
Absolutely. And they've drafted some really strong guys up front as well with them. You have an elite wide receiver crew who, if you use it right, you can put up big numbers, and you can, like you said, you can compete with the Bills and the Patriots too. Let's not forget the Patriots will throw their name in that hat, in that ring as well. So Miami has the potential. Like you said, though, it's going to come down to, can Tua take advantage of this? And having Mike McDaniel as your head coach, he's young, he's innovative, he's a strong, I'm going to go with the run kind of thing. Mostert's his dude. That's why they brought him in, because he knows how to work with him. He likes Edmonds a lot. So expect them to run the ball, I think, quite a bit. But expect them to also look for the big play opportunities. There's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors, I think, in this offense, considering with what they have right now.
Yes, with that speed and talent on the outside. Yes, you have to. You would be doing your team a disservice if you didn't use them as distractions at time. But just like with the Cleveland situation and how you're saying Stefanski's a running guy.
Right.
We're going to see what kind of coaches they are.
True.
If we're going to really see how good they are on how they adjust.
Yes.
Because now that Cleveland, you have Deshaun Watson, you have that quarterback where you don't have to run it all the time.
Exactly.
You give those guys a break because now you have a quarterback that can sling it all over the field.
Yeah.
So not necessarily the case with Tua.
Right.
But he has shown that at Alabama.
Absolutely.
He has shown that he can do those things with NFL talent on
Davante
Alabama.
Smith, Jalen Waddle,
Yes.
all those guys.
He played with Jalen Waddle there, and they did things. So we're going to find out how good these coaches are on how they adjust. And keyword there, NFL coaches have to make adjustments, not only before the season, throughout the season, during games, throughout the whole entire time.
Yes.
It's all about making adjustments and making your team better. And we're going to find out if they can do it.
And we will find out, folks. It's going to be a fun year. Yeah. I'm really excited to see how this goes. Because, I mean, listen, even on top of these teams now that are certainly, I mean, look, I'll say this. For the Chiefs, you lose Tyreek Hill. I will say that between Hill and Kelsey, I would have kept Kelsey. Nothing against Tyreek Hill. He is a one-of-a-kind, I think, wide receiver. But that doesn't necessarily mean you cannot find somebody in the draft and maybe have Patrick Mahomes work with him and develop into another guy. Of that caliber, probably not. But of a caliber that he can at least make plays, get touchdowns, maybe be like a top 15, top 12 receiver, I absolutely think so. Because I think Mahomes is that kind of a quarterback. He can transform guys. Yeah. I don't think that's happening with McCole Hardman. Sorry, buddy. But I think they're going to go for some rookies. They're going to get some receivers.
They got Juju.
They do have Juju now.
I think Juju is going to be very good for them.
Yes.
I think what he can do is going to work really well for what they need.
Yes.
I really don't know why they traded him. I wouldn't have. Like I said, when we were talking about the division, I think it hurts. I do think it hurts.
It definitely makes it a lot more open now. Yeah.
I think it hurts Kansas City not having a guy of his caliber breakaway speed and catch the ball. He can score from anywhere on the field. Even if you threw the ball 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage to Tyreek Hill, he could still score.
Yeah.
So I think it does. It's going to hurt them. They're going to feel that. Yes, they are bringing in other players. Yes, they still have Travis Kelce. Maybe Kelce has 2,000 yards this year.
It's possible.
Very possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end, I think it does hurt them.
Yeah.
I think they have picks. They're going to be going after wide receivers in this draft.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, why did they trade him? The only thing I can assume is because of the Mahomes contract.
Yeah.
Things were looking like they were going to probably, again, like I say, bottleneck up. I know that's my go-to word for this kind of stuff, but everything's coming to a head. How do we stop it? We got to trade somebody. Who are we letting go, Kelce or Hill? And I think they looked at it and probably said, we could find not somebody of, I don't think you can ever find somebody of his caliber, but I think you can find a guy, develop him, and get him somewhere close to that level, if not like another tier down at least.
And because of his problems in college, I think the Chiefs got him in like the 5th round.
Yes, they did. So they got him late in the draft, so who knows?
He was projected to be like a 2nd rounder or something like that. So let's say 2nd rounder. So you flip the 2nd rounder talent at the time.
Yeah.
Who was clearly a 1st round talent now, but 2nd rounder for 5 picks.
Yeah.
And 1st round, 2nd round this year. And If anybody knows how to draft, it's the Chiefs.
True.
So they're going to turn those picks into something very useful.
Yeah, they have back-to-back first-round picks, 29 and 30. So there go the receivers, folks.
Yep, right in front of where the Bears are going to go.
Sorry, Drew.
Yep.
Maybe, but you know what? We don't know. I think they'll take a receiver, but you never know, right? They could take a receiver and somebody else. As we just discussed, maybe the Packers will whiff again. We can only hope, right?
And as much as I hate Ohio State, and as much as I probably shouldn't say it because I'm a Michigan fan, but bringing a guy like Chris Olave in to pair with his college quarterback would be a move that I think would be stellar.
Yeah,
But I think if he falls to the Chiefs, he's going to end up going there.
Yeah,
stay in red and catch balls from
Patrick Mahomes. I've heard David's very much against Olave, and maybe one day we can get you guys on here to kind of discuss that. I like Olave. Why not get your best receiver with the quarterback that made him one of the best receivers at college, right? Makes sense to me.
I watched Olave a lot over the years, and he's a stud. Yeah. He's a stud, and he is fast as hell.
Oh, yeah.
And dude could catch. You don't see a lot of drops from him.
And what better way than, obviously, bringing best friends together seems to kind of be a new motive in the NFL. So be it Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith, or Jalen Waddle and Tua, or Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Jameson Williams or Chris Olave. Please, Jameson. Just at least one of them.
I'll take a Jameson Williams just because Alabama wide receivers seem to just run the show at this point.
Most of them.
Well, there's a bit of few that are not very happy. But, folks, that's going to do it for us. This is the NFL talk that we all wanted. Real quick, too, our guy King Big Mac, I didn't get a chance to see this. He said, for me, as a Bears fan, watching other teams trade draft picks to get difference-making players, while the Bears trade draft picks for Mitch, Shaheen, Grant, etc. Very well said, B-Mac. Very well said.
That hurt me.
I'm so
that
sorry.
Hurt me so bad, B-Mac. That hurt me so bad. It's true. The truth hurts, though.
It is. Well, let's end this now so you can rest and relax. But Drew, as always, thank you so much for joining me, man.
This was a fun one.
And I'm sure we're not done. Give me a break, please, NFL. Like, not really, but at the same time, like
Fast and Furious, keep them coming.
Yeah, please. I just want to get to the NBA and NCAA tomorrow.
You haven't even got to the draft yet.
I know.
It's not even the draft.
You're doing good, NFL. I'm very proud of you.
Like I say all the time, like King Bing Mac said, football is king. NFL is king.
Football, NFL is king indeed. Well, Drew, where can they find you when we talk about the king of sports? Let them know where they can hear you, listen to you, all that good stuff, man.
Right here on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And you can find me on Instagram at d.gwil25 and Facebook at Drew Gwillem.
There you guys go. Make sure to go follow Drew. Check him out. Ask him all the great questions for the NFL. I'm sure he's got way more opinions on what's been going down with the NFL. There's been a lot of things that have happened that we haven't even had a chance to really cover.
Yes.
But we just covered the big stuff. So any more questions, guys, ask him, if you will, at d.gwil25. Or if you want to ask me, I know some of you really want to yell at me. You guys can hit me up at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram. That's where you guys can mostly find me at the time. But guys, if you want to find us, make sure to follow us on Facebook, like and follow our page on Facebook, so you can get the updates for when we do go live on the show on YouTube here. And that's right, Twitch, unfortunately, no longer working with us. So we are officially here on YouTube, and that's the YouTube channel X-Bomb Sports, where we go live Wednesday and Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So make sure to check us out there, guys, for when you want to catch the live stream as well, folks. Also, too, make sure to follow us on our social media at X-Bomb Sports on Instagram and Twitter for all the updates on the show and any more funny stuff we decide to post. And two, make sure to hit us up on our email at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com for any questions or comments that you have for all of us, ladies and gentlemen. And we will get to those questions as soon as all this craziness kind of dies down. I will get back to it. It's just everything decides to hit at once now. Guys, too, make sure to go check out an amazing show, Blow the Whistle. I kind of mentioned it before, sportstownchicago.com, every Monday, 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. Myself, David, Tyler, we just did the Blow the Whistle show this past Monday on the radio side, sportstownchicago.com. We also did the live show today, believe it or not, at 2:30. It is the live show here on X-Bomb Sports, so check them out here as well. on X-Bomb Sports on YouTube. We go live 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. on Tuesdays usually, but we're going on Wednesdays because some of the kids are now learning how to do TV stuff. So we're giving them the opportunity to kind of learn with us and also learn on their own as well. Also, guys, too, check out Money Motivation with Hannah B. It's a wonderful podcast. If you guys don't know, you can find it on Spotify, Odyssey, and iHeartRadio. Or two, if you guys want to check out another amazing piece of content by our very own Hannah B, a.k.a. Hannah Brummer, check out 102.3 XLC, The Afternoon Drive, where she goes live 3 to 7 p.m. Central Time from 102.3 XLC. It is an awesome show, guys. You should listen to her. She is killing it right now on the radio side. Also, too, check out the boys at The Parlay. That's right. It's our very own Tony Lopez, followed by former Chicago Bull and professional boxer Kendall Gill, as they talk everything combat sports. They recently come in with new episodes where they were doing interviews with boxing trainers and boxers for their new season 4 outcomes. So make sure to go check that out at theparlay.com. Also, too, guys, go check out the boys at Fake Football Guys, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get all your fantasy needs, check us out. We just did an episode last week on Friday, so go check out that latest episode. Make sure to follow us at Fake Football Guys on TikTok as well. That's where I do all the posting for these boys from time to time on the show. So make sure to go check out that stuff. And you can find it at Fake Football Guys on YouTube. And that's going to be it for us here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. We will see you guys tomorrow. We're hopefully no more NFL. Well, we'll see what the news brings us. But thank you all so much for watching. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.